Hello everyone. Welcome to PJ Talks Podcast. Thank you for clicking onto this video. I am Mr. Beard and let's get right into it. So, what's my first discussion for this channel? Being that this is my second video, I want to talk about the fact that in this new technology age, where this new generation, aka our children, are growing up in, should we be more concerned with the way things are going? I think we should, because it's getting to the point where TV shows on cable news, on cable networks and stuff like that are not really being impactful into the same, at least not in the same light that they were impactful for us when we were growing up. And when I say us, I'm talking about the 80s, the kids that were born in the 80s. You know, that's how old I'm ready to let you guys know I am. I'm not gonna get into any details, but I do see a problem. And I know it's kind of weird that I'm saying it and I'm putting this video here on the YouTube platform, but that's what I want to kind of address, because I see a lot of people letting their kids, when they're waiting in the waiting room of a doctor's office or wherever you may be, where you're sitting down, you look at the family or a parent with their children, and their children starts to get all anxious and angsty. And what do? They give them their tablet. And go ahead, YouTube Kids. Now, YouTube Kids I find to be very nice. I know it's going to sound a bit hypocritical, because I did have my kids on YouTube Kids when it first was released. I thought it was a nice idea. And then the whole thing with the I'm not sure if anybody was ever aware of the Momo challenge or the Momo stage, where people were hijacking kids' YouTube videos and kind of finding a way to disguise them, and so they can get put into the YouTube Kids app rather than just the regular YouTube, where they would show weird or disturbing images or have disturbing messages being said to kind of teach or show or tell kids what they should be doing as it relates to being violent or being doing something dangerous in the middle of the night when everybody's asleep. So when that whole thing happened, thankfully, let me just say, thankfully, my kids never ran into that. When that happened, it kind of took me to a whole different level, to the point where now I tell my kids I don't want YouTube. I take YouTube off of the phone. I take YouTube off of their tablets. Now, don't get me wrong, there are times where they find to go to YouTube when I'm not around, or when I leave, like basically when I leave them in maybe the babysitter's or my family's house. You know, I'm not always around, so I know that they're exposed to it. But my thing is to talk to your children, have that talk with them, to show them and have them learn about, listen, the world is not nice. And I don't think that's a bad message to say, because the world isn't nice. You know, and I understand how people may feel. They want their kids to be kind and gentle. And I want my kids to be kind and gentle, and they are. But at the same time, like, for example, let me just say this. My youngest son is in kindergarten. He is loving. He is caring. He also may be a spoiled little brat sometimes. But I appreciate that from him, because you can see that that's natural. Curiosity, that whole natural questioning. Like, by the way, this is not just exclusive to him, but I just find it fascinating because he is the youngest and he has not seen so much of that kind of spoiled brat behavior, because I don't, at least I try not to allow it with my older children. But you have to admire the fact that the human emotions, just humans in general, we're born with a curiosity, with a fierceness to us, that it's not a bad thing. When people talk about the toxic males and stuff like that, they're gonna hear in society a lot. I brush all that off, because now it's not like, yeah, we get it, wife beaters and children abusers. That's not just males. We've seen wife beaters from their own wives. Let's get real about that. It's a woman beating on her wife. You've seen videos like that all over the internet, and they're funny because of the fact that wife beater perception is mostly, or most of the time, male dominated, right? Everybody thinks of a man when they think of wife beater. And so, but going back to what I'm saying about the curiosity and stuff, we have to admire it, and we have to be able to teach our kids that it's okay to be rough when you have to be rough, but also be kind, be gentle, be nice. But if somebody's not gentle and nice to you, it's okay to put your hands, to put all the cards on the table and say, okay, what's up? So, going back to my son, the other day, him and his school, both of my sons, because I have two sons that go to the same school. One's in second and the other one's in kindergarten. The other day, they had a drill where it was, the public schools have been starting to do it. They're called active shooter drills. Now, when I first heard this, I was like, oh, okay, it makes sense with the whole, the news and the what's been happening recently and blah, blah, blah. And I get all that. So I was cool with it. But once I found out that my kids did it, because they told me that they were doing it, it hit me differently. As a parent, as a dad, especially as me, the way I think that dads are supposed to be, I'm supposed to be there for my kids physically, protect them physically and also emotionally and mentally, and protect that their spirits stay up, their confidence. And so when I heard that they were doing that, it hit me differently, and I can see my kids telling me, oh yeah, we were doing the drill, we had to turn off the lights, and like basically they were playing hide and seek in the building, and it hit me differently to the point where I was like, wow, and the details that they went through to tell me what they did in the drills, it was just like, this is what we've come to. The only drills I've done as a kid were fire drills, and some would say that was kind of progress from the generation before us, because the generation before us were having drills where they would sound an alarm, they would all get under their tables or rush to the school basement because of a possible missile attack, because of the Cold War stuff, when the conflict with Russia and stuff like that, or even before that. So my generation, the only drills that we did were fire drills. I find that to be progress, and now we kind of digressed. And so I guess my point is that I feel that's probably why I feel the way I do, is I feel to the point that we've kind of digressed a little bit, because now we're having these active shooter drills in public schools, elementary schools, with children that have no idea what's going on. For them, they're playing kind of, it's a form of hide and seek in the building. You know, a form of hide and seek, or running out and as fast as you can, and just stuff like that. And it's I don't want to get too much into it, because I don't know if schools want to kind of publicize the way that they do things. So I'm gonna just keep it vague. And so I apologize if I do, if I'm pausing a lot or saying a lot of ums. That's just the way it is. I'm trying to keep this as real as I can be, with also a way of you understanding me, because I know I have kind of like a mush mouth situation, and I get all that. But right there, going back to talking as a parent, I felt the need to tell them why they had to do those drills, and I told them what it was called, and the innocence in their faces. My oldest was already used to it. He knew what it was already. But my youngest is in kindergarten. Mind you, he was not in a daycare before this, where they would do the same kind of drills or something similar, because I know certain daycares do it. He comes from just being in a babysitter, because I don't got it like that. I don't got it to the point where I can send them to a daycare and pay this money, because we are tight on money as it is. And so when I had to explain it to him, I can see his innocence, the look on his face. I can see the innocence kind of just chipping away when I had to explain to him that the reasons why you had to do what you had to do today was because there are monsters in the world. There are people that I call them monsters. I had to tell him, because I don't want him to think that they're actual monsters. But I told him that there's people in the world, very bad, evil people, that will grab a weapon. It could be a gun, it could be a knife. That they will grab a weapon and go to any school and start hurting people, start hurting children, just because they feel that they want to hurt somebody, because they are evil. Or even if they're hurting, they let evil take over them. And to see the look on his face hurt me to a whole different level, because like I said, I had my other children experience it. When I had to explain it to them, it was kind of like a moment of silence, and then they're like, yeah, I get it. But with him, it was on a different level. He gave me the look where it was crushing. As a parent, as a dad, it was crushing to me to have to sit there and trying to make him feel better, because these drills are supposed to be making you feel better, and it worked to a certain extent. After that, he doesn't want to be alone in the rooms. He was like that for like a couple days, and I get it. But what I'm trying to say is that it was necessary for me to say that to him. So like that, he knows that those drills are not a joke. Those drills are not just a moment. That's not a time during the school year where you can okay, the lights are being turned off, we're being told to do this and that. It's playtime. You know what I mean? I need him to know what it's for. Because if he's doing it, I need him to be aware of why he's doing it, Because at the end of the day, man, I know they're kids, but we as parents are supposed to teach them or show them why we do things and the right way to do it. It's a drill. It's to teach you guys how to react. So take it seriously. And I know it's hard to tell a kindergarten to take something serious. I get all that, trust me. But instilling a little bit of fear to make sure that they take the drill seriously. I don't find that to be wrong. I find that to be right. I don't know what you guys think. Maybe you guys are different. Maybe you guys see me as like, oh, why are you trying to scare the living bejesus out of your kid to do just a drill? And I get all that. Trust me, I understand you. But that's just the way I believe that, raising our kids should be. And so going back to the YouTube, that's why I told them to delete the YouTubes out of their tablets. Like, I don't even have their tablets on them. I put the tablets away unless they want me to bring it out to play a certain game. But if it's up to me, I'll keep them on their DSs, like a Game Boy. Stuff that I grew up on. I know a lot of people will sit there and say like, oh, why you don't give your kids so much technology. And to be honest, I give them the same amount that I had growing up. And me growing up, I had Nintendos, I had Sega, I had 64. Like, it's a lot. I had all the different variations of game consoles. And what's the thing that they all have in common? They don't connect to the internet. That's my thing. I don't like giving them games that connect to the internet. I give them games that are just between one player and two player. That's it. Very rarely do I let them go on my PlayStation that's connected to the internet and play games connected to the internet. Even when they play my PlayStation, it's usually a game that's just one player, two player base. My PlayStation is connected to the internet, but the game that they're playing is not an internet game. So that's my thing. I see so many people let their kids on YouTube because it keeps them quiet. Yeah, I get that. But at the end of the day, be aware of what your kid is watching. You don't want YouTube to raise your children. I deal with that on a daily basis, especially with my older kids. Got a 13 and a 12-year-old. And they live off watching YouTube videos, especially all of these YouTube celebrities, YouTube personalities that are out there that they play. I mean, the biggest thing that I gotta say that I'm okay with, I'm not okay with, but I don't have too much to fear, is that they watch a lot of family-based video, YouTube personalities. You know what I mean? Like, they're basically based off of making videos of them and their own family and putting it out there, and a lot of it is stuff that we in our household believe in, but at the same time I argue with them about it as well, because it's like I tell them all the time, why do you watch someone do something that you can do yourself? You watch someone go to the park and play around or record their daughter or their son or their baby for the first time doing something. Why don't you go and take yourself to the park? Why don't you say, I'm gonna do this, and take your sister, or have that, you know what I mean? Like, have that with your sibling, like, oh, let's do this together, let's experience this, rather than watching someone else do it. To me it's a little mind-boggling, because again, with the children, the younger kids, they watch other young kids play video games, and especially when they have that same video game, they rather watch someone else play that video game. So I sit there like, what? I don't understand it. But again, it's all comes down to the times that we've let them play on or watch YouTube videos, because they've kept quiet in the times that we need them quiet. Now it's a way where what they see is, well, this is normal for us. I'd rather watch it than play it, because they add in the video so many other graphics, or they do so many jokes, or whatever it may be. Because a lot of these YouTube personalities, They come up with ways to make it entertaining. And so people love to watch them do it. And I get all that. But at the same time, we need we need to force our kids off of it once in a while. You know how they tell us in schools, like, oh, maybe give them some time, let them run outside, not so much technology. Yeah, I get all that. But what happens to the parents that live somewhere where it's kind of rough, or it's not a family-oriented neighborhood? You know, they're afraid to let their kids walk out, especially with all these abductions going on. You know, in these rough neighborhoods. It's a lot to think about. It's a lot to take in. At the same time, we want our children to feel that they can be relaxed, play games. If there's no way to go outside, they got to be entertained some other way. So we don't want to take it away from them. And it's just a lot as a parent. And I get it, man. I get it. But at the end of the day, one thing I got to say, I want to just close out by saying this as well, because I got to be going. At the end of the day, as a parent, I know we work, we try to make ends meet, we try to plan a lot of activities, and sometimes it doesn't work, especially if you're a parent that's always on social media and you see constantly a lot of parents who are able to do that, and God bless them because they are. Right? A lot of these parents get anxious when they look at these pictures and videos of other parents taking their kids out. Like, oh, I could be taking my kid to do that. That's just a lot of money. I don't got it like that. And when you got kids that are older as well, they follow the same people, and they see that, and they come up to you like, oh, how come we don't do this, or how come we can't do that? And it's, you know, it's a lot of back and forth, and it's, as a parent, you feel overwhelmed. But trust me when I tell you that the best thing that you can do if you're a parent in that situation, because I'm a parent that works, I work hard to make ends meet along with their mother, right? I get what people say because I've seen my daughters come up to me. I got away from Instagram a long time ago because of the way that I felt that Instagram was well, all social media was kind of taking a big chunk out of my day to just swipe up and look and double tap and like and keep looking. And it's addicting when you got nothing to do for the first 5 minutes in your morning that you wake up. And as soon as you feel that you're done scrolling through, you look at the time. Instead of 5 minutes, you wasted a whole 2 hours just looking on your phone. And to me, that was a big concern. That's when it finally hit me, like, listen, I'm getting rid of Facebook. I'm getting rid of Instagram. I'm not doing that. When I first wake up, it's got to be to either use the bathroom or feed my kids, or get up and feed myself, or make some coffee or something. But that's my reason of getting away from it. So when I tell you that the best thing that you can do if you're overwhelmed, sit down and play a board game with your kids, or sit down and dive into whatever they're doing, and you'll feel so much better. You'll feel so much better. It's like you just had a glass of wine. You feel that pressure that you had is released. You feel good. You don't feel stressed. So it's basically the equivalent of going out with the homies, or going out with your girlfriends, or having a glass of wine and peace and the quiet, right? I mean, it's not the same as probably taking a bath for the moms out there, because that bath with the Epsom salts and the bath bombs and having that time in the tub is different for females than men. But as a man, as a dad, I'll tell you right now, the best thing to do is sit down and dive yourself in, because you feel better, you make your kids feel better, you make them feel that you care. At the same time, they'll give in to you. They'll show you that same energy back. You make them feel that way. You make them feel that they care, like I said. And at the end of the day, that's all you want. At the end of the day, you want them to know, and you want to know that you are doing as much as you can for them. And they will appreciate you. They will appreciate you. They might not like the situations at times when it gets rough and this and that. But you do that, they will appreciate you. That's why a lot of people, a lot of people will say, have a family day. Where it's like family game night or something like that. Whatever it may be. If you choose to do it every day, do it. There's nothing wrong. Those are your kids for a reason. You chose to have kids and have a family for a reason. So, do it. And you'll see the rewards. The rewards are all right there. You don't need to go out and buy fancy stuff. You don't need to go out and buy anything nice. The reward is there. You participated in making them. The reward is there. God has blessed you with your children, and just sit there and get into it with your blessings that are children and see how they make you feel. Alright guys, I think I've rambled enough for however long it is. Thank you very much for listening, and have yourself a good one, and I will see you for the next one. Thank you. Have a good one.